Hello everybody, it's Kate, and today I thought we'd take a look at some of the tissue papers and also this really lovely gift wrap by Artist Book. It's William Morris Designs. And when I took these out of the cupboard, I realised that they had really nice crinkly sounds as well. So I thought maybe I would fold some of the tissue paper as well. This isn't William Morris, but it's still a nice design. Neither is this one, but again, I really like the design. I love the blues and the pinks. Let's open this one up. It's very crunchy sound. This is another one that I bought recently. I've actually used some of this already. This says Pizar's Gallery Bike Lake Tissue, 4 large sheets, 50 by 75 centimetres, and it cost me £1.99p. Let's take it out of its packet. Such lovely colours. the next one, this is a William Morris design, which I haven't opened yet, and it's product of the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, or the V&A. Tissue paper, 4 sheets. And it cost me £1.99p. Don't know whether it's possible to take this sticker off. Yes. It says adapted from the Owl Textile and Wallpaper Design, C.F.A. Voisey. So I beg your pardon, it isn't William Morris at all. It just shows what I know. 1857 to 1941, England, and it was designed in 1897. Does look a bit like William Morris though. I like the greens, the green colours. Okay. Now this is definitely by William Morris. I know that. It's called The Strawberry Thief. Again, it's sold by the V&A, Victorian Albert Museum. Tissue paper, 4 sheets. I love this design. Okay, let's see if we can take this sticker off. Yes. Okay. This says adapted from Strawberry Thief, furnishing fabric, William Morris, 1834 to 96, and this was designed in England in 1883. Very nice. So let's take a look at this is my William Morris gift wraps by artists. 12 full colour patterns, each tear out sheet 4 times book size. So here is the man himself. William Morris, 1834 to 1896. And this is a quote from him from News from Nowhere, 1890. If others can see it as I have seen it, then it may be called a vision rather than a dream. And then I think that's in German and that's in French. Let's read this. William Morris Morris was born on March the 24th, 1834 at Elm House, Clay Hill, Walthamstow, England. At the age of 6, his family moved to Woodford Hall, Walthamstow, where 7 years later, in 1847, his father died. The family then moved to Waterhouse, and Morris was sent to school at Marlborough. When in 1853 he entered Exeter College, Oxford, he and his friends began an association they named the Brotherhood. He, Edward Burne-Jones, and other contemporaries connected with the Brotherhood published the Oxford and Cambridge magazine in 1856. In the same year, he began work for the architect C.E. Street, and there met another architect, Philip Webb, but soon abandoned architecture to devote himself to painting. Morris met Jane Burden at this time and married her in 1859. They moved into Red House, Upton, in 1860, where Mary, on that next page, where Mary May Morris was born in 1862, and the first Morris wallpapers were designed by Morris's year-old firm, which existed until 1875. Morris designed and produced papers and fabrics, and also wrote, published, and participated in civic affairs. Among his many interests was his study of Icelandic tales, such as Volsunga Saga, which he translated and published in prose form in 1870. In 1883, he openly declared himself a socialist, became an officer in the Socialist Democratic Federation, and wrote his first Chants for Socialists. Morris founded the Kelmscott Press in 1890. A year later, he became seriously ill and never fully recovered. Although he published News from Nowhere and a number of other important works during the next 6 years, including his Kelmscott edition of Chaucer, his health continued to fail. He died on October 3rd, 1896, and was buried at Kelmscott. This is William Morris in his library at Kelmscott House, 1890s. William Morris's utopian novel, News from Nowhere, brought tidings not from no place, but from William Morris's mind's eye. Morris's vision of a new world arose from his optimistic understanding of the past, the coherent pre-industrial society of the Middle Ages, which celebrated craftsmanship, pleasured in a simpler natural beauty, and delighted in work in which the responsibilities of individuals to community were universally understood. News from Nowhere is a historical novel set in the future, because Morris's sense of history did not stop at yesterday's news. He lived in history. He communed with the builders of spired Gothic cathedrals and the artisans of their mandalac-coloured glass windows, as if these medieval artists were still surely living. His ideal fellowship, this universal artistic guild, located in a society of justice and equality for all humankind, reached across time in a continuum, and is thus ever alive. Morris's extraordinary understanding of his own historical time, and of that time as eternal, may explain his next page. his enduring presence today. Some 150 years after his birth, a time traveller, William Morris was a Renaissance artist in a Victorian age, inspired by the range of Leonardo. He wrote poetry and prose, designed and painted, and decorated, spoke in public as a socialist, activist and thinker. And next page. And manufactured patterns of flower, leaf, stem and pod. His many and various permutations of natural outdoor forms in artifacts for the indoors remain as current today as when he conceived them a century ago. His designs for jasmine, 1872, or garden tulip, 1885, on the wall, for honeysuckle on drapery, willow bough, 1887, on seat covering or carpet, flourish in a room in the kind of conceptual home Gertrude Stein called the continuous present. Even Morris's News from Nowhere begins at home. The frontispiece of his Kelmscott Press edition, 1892, is an east view of Kelmscott Manor, his own London home after 1878. News from Nowhere has been described as an epic of rest. The conjunction of the two terms gives a more specific sense of Morris's intention. His style was grounded in the heroic gesture and elevated state of mind that characterised the epic. Epic as well was the ambition of his work, the totality of his concepts, the variety of his expression. The great parlour at Whittick Manor conveys the grandeur Morris applied to the home. His wall covering, diagonal trail, and his chair patterns wrap and embellish the architecture of the room with an orchestrated totality that analogizes his vision of a harmonious society. Architecture, he wrote in the essay The Prospect of Architecture in Civilization, 1881, embraces the consideration of the whole external surroundings of the life of man. It means the moulding of the very face of the earth itself. Rest is also harmony, in the musical sense, as rhythmic silence, and rest is repose, as Roderick Marshall proposed in William Morris and His Earthly Paradises. Morris's need for homely respite was so great that his singular quest in all his endeavours was the recreation of heaven on earth, a healing Eden. His Fruit, 1862, and Bird and Pomegranate enabled him to reside in the abundant garden of his peaceful nowhere. Look at some of the designs. This is very nice. I've actually used some of these. I'm sure there were actually more inside this book. really nice. I think this still remains my favourite. I hope you enjoyed my little video of tissue paper sounds and a little bit about William Morris. This is Kate at the Library of Whispers. I hope you'll pop by soon. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye for now.